Hello everyone, it's me. Today we're going to be talking about whether lizards make good pets. Let's get started. First of all, I think it is important to point out that not all lizards make good pets. There are some lizards that are better suited to life in the wild than in captivity. But there are also quite a few species of lizards that are commonly kept as pets and have been selectively bred by humans for generations to become docile, easy to care for, small and friendly. So today when we talk about whether lizards make good pets, we will be focusing mainly on these types of lizards. The first reason why lizards can make great pets is because they are cold-blooded, or what we call poikilothermic. This means that they do not need us to regulate their temperature. In fact, they cannot internally regulate their body temperature and rely on external sources of heat. In most cases, this means that they do not require any special heating equipment. As long as they are kept in a terrarium with plenty of space, appropriate lighting, and a heat source such as a heat rock or a heat lamp, most pet lizards will be just fine. Bearded dragons are a prime example of a lizard that requires no special heating equipment. They are often kept as pets, and many breeders even offer them for sale. Another reason why lizards make great pets is because they do not require daily exercise outside of their enclosure. Unlike dogs, for example, lizards don't need to be walked daily, and this has several advantages. For example, it is much more difficult to keep a dog entertained during the winter months, especially if you live in a cold climate where you can't walk your dog outside. However, with a lizard, this is not a problem because they don't need to be exercised. Also, if you travel a lot, then a lizard will probably be a better pet choice than a dog or a cat. Because you need to ask a friend or neighbor to come and walk your lizard while you are away. It is also worth mentioning that lizards generally do not shed much, but the amount of shedding depends on how well they are cared for. If their environment is appropriately humid and they receive adequate nutrition, then most lizards will only shed a couple of times per year. Another advantage of keeping a lizard as a pet is that they can live for many years, depending on the species. Some lizards, for example, green iguanas, can live 20 years or longer if kept in optimal conditions. Therefore, if you are looking for a long-term companion, then a lizard could be an excellent choice. And another really cool thing about lizards is that they can be very calm and even friendly animals. Even though they are reptiles, many lizards are much calmer than dogs. And some lizards, for example, bearded dragons, are known to be very friendly and social animals. There are countless videos online of bearded dragons greeting their owners when they come home and even going for walks on a leash. So even though lizards may seem like strange pets, in reality, they can be just as friendly and social as a dog. Now let's talk about some of the disadvantages of keeping lizards as pets. First of all, some lizards can be quite expensive to buy, especially if you want a rare color morph. For example, the white and yellow bearded dragon pictured here. Another disadvantage is that some lizards require live insects as food, which can become quite expensive over time. Also, some lizards, such as leopard geckos, require a setup with a hot rock and a cool side, whereas other lizards, such as crested geckos, require a vertical setup with plants and a misting system. Therefore, depending on the species, some lizards can be more expensive to keep than others. Finally, even though lizards do not require daily exercise outside of their enclosure, they still need a large enough enclosure with plenty of space to move around. And if they don't have enough space, they may become stressed or develop behavioral problems. Overall, I believe that lizards can make excellent pets. They are fascinating creatures to observe, and some lizards can be surprisingly friendly and social. If you are considering getting a lizard as a pet, then I highly recommend doing some research into the specific needs of the type of lizard you want to keep. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.